Hi there. I hope you're doing fine wherever you are today. Coming to the motherland is one of the dreams that some diasporans always have when they want to come to Africa. But after getting to Africa, something happened. Something which is called the honeymoon phase. When the honeymoon effect ends, now the reality is some diasporans want to get home. But I would like to applaud African Americans who have stayed to the motherland, and maybe for some reasons that they had to leave to go to back to the US that made them leave. But no, the videos today I'm going to address is about African Americans coming to Africa, and then after some time they leave. They leave because something happened that never resonated with them. So when something happened that never resonated with them, they have to leave. So what happens is called the honeymoon effect. When the honeymoon phase ends, people want to leave because the enthusiast, the zeal and the zest, something that motivated them to come to the motherland, is now less interesting. It is now less interesting because of some things. So this video is going to highlight reasons as to why diasporans come to Africa and leave, then go back to the US or the city that they came from. Now, this video that I'm going to watch, that I'm going to show you, is by Ashley from Africa. Go sure to check her out, and because she offers good content from geopolitics, advices for the diasporans, and things, just generally things that help diasporans to invest, entrepreneurship and everything, geopolitics. So let's watch this video of Ashley in Africa. Let's get her perspective as an African American who has stayed in Africa, and then I'm gonna give you 5 solutions to beat the honeymoon phrase. How can you beat the honeymoon phrase as a diasporan who has the zeal and zest of coming to Africa, and then later on falling a victim of not getting interested, not resonating with things which happen in Africa, getting disgusted, getting frustrated with things which are happening in Africa, and then you leave? This video is for you. Or if you're planning to come to Africa, and you might want to watch this video because it might come in handy. So let's watch what Miss Ashley from Africa has to say about this issue, and then I'm going to give my 5 reasons on how to beat the honeymoon effect during the honeymoon phase, and then realize that you're in Africa and conduct yourself in a way that it will make you stay here for a long time. So let's dive into the video.
The first reason, people are going to visit their family. People come to the continent, they love it so much, and they eventually have to go back and visit family. They potentially could not be on a permanent visa, and they miss their friends and family. That's reason number 1. People are traveling, they're heading back, and for some people, once they get back, they feel like they've remembered why they loved living where they were living, how they were living in the first place. I will say that this situation seems to be a bit more relevant for people that don't have children, because the reality is, for those that do have children, we know that America, while it has been a great country for many of us, we just don't want to live there, and we know that it is not the place for us to raise our families and our children, especially our young children. So that's reason number 1. People are going back and they're visiting family. Sometimes they get stuck. I've had several situations where I've talked to people, I've consulted them, where they were traveling back for a temporary visit, and as the day after they arrived home, they lost their travel documents. They lost their passport, or it was stolen, or their IDs, or their wallets, or their bank cards, forcing them to stay in the country for a longer period of time. And so that seems to be why, number 1, people are going back. Number 2, they've overextended themselves. They can't afford not to be in America. And so they've got to go back. I think when people migrate to the continent, or they leave abroad, as we're seeing in record numbers, more than ever before, I'm not sure if it's new or if social media is giving us these viewpoints, but you come to countries where you find the quality of life so much better, but the cost of living a lot less than what you're used to, and you overextend. You purchase a house or you get an apartment in the most luxurious part of the country. You're dining out every day, multiple times a day. You've got a driver, you're doing all of these things. And while these things can still be relatively affordable, what I see for the most part is people just doing the most, like getting the most luxurious car, the most luxurious home, the most luxurious furnishings, and essentially they can't afford to not do the work that they were doing in the US to now sustain the life that they've created on the continent. And so, when I first arrived to the continent, I wouldn't say made those mistakes. I have lived, had money, lost money, had money, lost it. So I knew how to live pretty frugally. But I do recommend that when you do migrate, that you enjoy that experience for the short term. And that's like 30 days, celebrate yourself. Have fantastic dinners out, stay at a hotel, stay in a fabulous Airbnb. But if this is something that you want to do long term, you need to get yourself on a budget and be financially responsible so that you don't overextend yourself, so that you don't end up having to go back to a country that you so direly want to get out of, right? So that's number 2. Number 3, sometimes people select the wrong place to live. So, for example, you decided that you wanted to live in a certain place and, unfortunately it doesn't work out. It could be the worst case where you move into an area that probably isn't as safe or isn't as welcoming to outsiders because you don't speak the language, you don't practice the culture, you don't understand the customs, and then your experience ends up being horrible. Or it could be the opposite, as in example number 2, where you overextend yourself and you get into a community that essentially you can't afford, and you end up having to figure out hustles and ways to do and what and move around, and you have a bad experience because your main anchor, your neighborhood or the community that you surround yourself with, hint leading into the next topic, isn't the right place, the right people. So going into the next step, you surround yourself with a community of people who are not the right people. And some of them are going to be constantly speaking poorly about the experience. And you're also now having a negative experience. So you're feeding negativity back and forth to each other. You're not growing. You're staying the same. And instead of making a change, you're looking outside saying, these are the reasons why these things should change and I shouldn't change. That's a huge reason why people end up leaving the continent. And the last thing, you don't have the patience to deal with the immigration process. You'll find that depending upon the country that you come to, you can potentially apply for longer term visas in said country. Now, do your own research. Immigration rules are changing every day. And so you need to equip yourself with the most updated information that you can find. But the reality is sometimes the things on the website aren't necessarily exactly how it goes down. So it's really important to consult with people on the ground that have done the work, that have created the relationships, that are in the process to be able to support your journey along the way. And if it's not me, if it's other people that are sharing content, sharing the resources, pay them what they ask and do what they say so that you can achieve the transformation that you're watching them achieve, right? Don't ask people for advice that don't have what you want. But if you're gonna ask someone who has what you want for advice, you need to pay them what they ask for and you need to do what they say. That's just my position on that. And so that process takes time. Coming from the US, we see what it looks like for people that are trying to migrate into the country and the things that they go through. But I will say it is nothing like that on this side. I've never seen immigration agents knocking down people's doors, having raids, kicking people out of schools and hospitals because they're foreigners. The rules are definitely the rules, but if you're willing to follow the process and you're willing to have the patience that is required, you'll be successful. Don't complain. Don't get on social media and talk about how they don't want you at home, because while there are policies being created and working with the Pan-African Congress, with the African Union, there are conversations, there are policies being enacted for the diaspora to have, a different type of return than just a random, foreigner. There's a process that you have to be willing to cooperate with, to invest in, and to believe in so that you can achieve the transformation that you ultimately want, which is to not be in America. So these are the reasons why most people are leaving the continent. It's my personal belief that Africa provides so much. It is all things, luxury included, opportunities, safety, reconnection, peace, belonging, community, wealth, luxury, everything. It is all these things, but it does take time. And
Number 1 is cultural immersion. Engage actively with the local culture, customs and traditions. Learn the language, participate in community events, and build relationships with locals. This can help in feeling connected and grounded in your new environment. Remember when Miss Ashley in Africa, in the video, she said that sometimes you feel that you miss your friends, you miss your family back in the US, and now you want to go. Something that can help you beat that is creating a connection with the diasporans. Creating a connection in diasporans in the sense that you might want to learn their language, you might want to immerse yourself in their customs. For instance, I've seen African Americans who have come to Africa and immersed themselves in African language. African language in this sense, it will help you communicate with the locals. Remember, sometimes we have some countries that don't speak English. So it will be difficult for you to communicate with people, to understand them. And then later on you start feeling lonely and you say that, oh, I miss my family, I want to go back home, So ensure you immerse yourself. For instance, in Kenya, we have different ethnic groups. We have the Kikuyu, we have the Akamba, we have the Maasai, we have the Luya. You can choose one ethnic group that you can immerse yourself in. You can have an African name so that you can feel connected with people in the ground, And this will help you beat the loneliness. This will help you feel, not feel like you're an outside. This will help you connect with the locals and form friendships that will later lead to something big out of it. Yes, learn to immerse yourself in the culture of Africa so that you don't feel left out. Now you start feeling that you miss your family and you want to go back to the United States. So my first point is cultural immersion. You don't have to immerse yourself in different cultures in Africa. You can choose one that you want to resonate with. Do some history. Learn some history of African languages. Learn some history of African tribes and choose the one that you want to associate with. Number 2 is mindset shift. So adjust expectations and embrace the difference. Understand that Africa may not operate in the same way as your home country, and that's okay. Adapting a positive and open-minded attitude towards new experiences can make the transition smoother. Yes, this can make the transition smoother. Understand, adapt, fit in. For instance, we have frustrations in Africa that come with power going off, delay in service. Maybe you've ordered a rider or something, they have delayed. It is not as fast as the same in the United States. And you gotta learn how to cope up with these situations. You gotta learn of being patient with people. Sometimes you might want to have a service, but it might get slower. And I understand that you might be frustrated because the place that you are, maybe the service was right on, like right there on your face. And it is not the same as Africa. So sometimes the taps run out of water. This will need you to adapt and find ways of how Africans or how locals in Africa do the things, and immerse yourself and be patient, Just shift your mindset from what you used to have in the United States and know that now this is reality. This is the motherland. And I gotta do it or I gotta leave. So if you choose between the two, you'll find yourself just moving on well, just like any other people. Because let me tell you for free, there are a lot of challenges here in the motherland that you will meet them. Sometimes you have your laptop, maybe you've organized for a conference with a friend. Maybe that's when the power goes off. You might find ways of keeping power in your house. You can use generators. So adapt, 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 adapt. Number 3 is seek support networks. Connect with other diasporans who have successfully adjusted to life in Africa. Join expert groups, online forums, local communities, and organizations where you can share experiences, seek advice, and build a support system. Build a support system. This is important in this sense. Support system it is in this. While you're coming to Kenya, try look for a network of other diasporans who have also come in the same country, like other diasporans who have come to Kenya. Ask them, how did you get your immigration visa? How are you coping up in Africa? What business do you think a person can do in Africa? Because having this will make you understand that you are not alone here in the motherland. Sometimes it gets lonely because for instance, you're going to a country that people don't speak English. You're going to a country that it's only few people speaking English, and it's not their fault. You need to understand that because some African countries are predominantly not English as compared to other African countries. So if you go to such kind of countries, it might be difficult. So for an easier transition, look for networks, maybe from the embassy, other African Americans who have come to Africa before, or who are in the motherland. How are they coping? Try to compare notes. What are you doing right that they're not doing? What's the land prices in the areas that they are? What are the land prices? What are the prices of the apartments in the areas that they are? What are the areas that they are specifically? Are the areas favorable as compared to where you are? Try to compare notes. This will make your transition smoother. You'll form friendship and get it right. Well, I'm saying that you might want the support system or the networks or attending forums and events that have diasporans together is this. You need to understand that you also need to talk with the locals, engage with the locals. But sometimes you're just landing, or maybe there's a problem with the language barrier that will take you time to understand the language that is being spoken in that country. So what am I saying? I'm saying that you need to create that network. Attend those events. For example, here in Kenya, we have the Muhammads. The Muhammads are a family of African Americans who support diasporans. They provide immigration services to diasporans, buying apartment, decisions in the business that they want to do, and they have forums set how to buy land, how to start a business, how to do anything in the motherland. So you see, this helps your transition to become so easy. This helps your transition to become so smooth. So that's why this support system here might be so helpful to diasporans. As as I have said, also the fourth one is explore support networks. Explore diverse opportunities. Listen, take advantage of the unique opportunities that Africa offers, whether it's exploring nature reserves, volunteering with the local non-governmental authorities, or starting a business ventures. Immerse yourself in activities that align with your interest and passion. Let me tell you one thing. There are a lot of activities that you can do in Africa. And statistics are that most of diasporans who come to Africa, their ages ranges between 35 or 35 to 50, 55 averagely. So with that being said, it means that these are people who at least have something going on in the United States. These are people who maybe are planning to retire back in the motherland. These are people who maybe have resources that can take care of a number of things that they are doing. So with that being said, you can have a lot of activities. For example, you can consider, if you're a teacher, your profession is a teacher, you can come share with children in schools. We have a lot of schools here in Africa. We have children's home. You can do, you can support people, because the motherland really needs the support. So with your support, it can be really, really helpful for you. And one, you'll not be doing it for you. You'll not be doing it for others. You'll also be doing it for you, for your mental health, for the peace, and for everything, you know. The fifth one, and the most important one, which is, I believe it's important, is self-care and resilience. I'll read it out. Prioritize self-care practices. Maintain mental and emotional well-being during challenging times. Develop resilience to overcome obstacles and setbacks, knowing that adaptation takes time and perseverance. Why am I saying this at this time? Most of people are coming to the motherland. Maybe their friends don't agree with it. Maybe your girlfriend, maybe your wife, maybe your husband, you're leaving them. And you know, this might affect your mental health. When this affects your mental health, it means that there are problems. You might not feel well. So you need to set your mind and know that I'm coming to the motherland and this is what I'm living. Maybe some of your family members don't support your idea of coming to the motherland. You're leaving your sister, you're leaving your brother. It takes a lot. It takes a lot. That's why you need to take care of your mental health when coming to the motherland. Also, taking care of your mental health comes in this essence. You'll meet different people here in the Alkibulan. People who are arrogant, different people. And these people might interfere with your mental state. They may disturb your happiness. But you need to be the bigger person and say that I'm not ruining this moment that I came to spend here in the motherland. Until then, guys, if you followed until the end, I thank you so much. Until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salute.